Well, if you were to go back to 1998, the thing that perhaps Symantec was best known for was Norton Utilities and Norton Antivirus. And so when I arrived in the spring of 1999, it was right after Windows 98 had been launched, and the company had had an abysmal series of quarters because the uptick after the launch of the new operating system for downstream software companies was not as strong as many had forecasted. And so in my first 100 days there, I sat around and listened to a lot of people and looked at our portfolio, and I found a couple things that were really interesting. We had a Java tools business that was the #1 development tool for individual Java developers in the world, but we didn't even use it internally. Well, that made no sense to me. Oh, by the way, it lost 4 to 8 cents a quarter. So of what strategic value was it to the company? It was a hobby for somebody. Well, I didn't come to Symantec to fund hobbies. We had the world's leading personal contact management software, and we had missed the CRM opportunity. There was no way to take ACT and turn it into a CRM system because that opportunity had been taken by Siebel and a couple of other larger software companies. And so here we were stuck with a contact management system that had no growth opportunity. Made a lot of money, though. Made an enormous amount of money, but it had no future. And the thing that was the brightest star in our portfolio was Norton Antivirus. And we had viewed ourselves as a consumer-oriented desktop software company. And I'd spent 27 years, 9 months, and 13 days at IBM working on enterprise-class software problems. And so we just decided we're going to be an enterprise security company, just like that. And then we went about the task of acquiring a series of companies because in 1999 and 2000 we weren't cool. We couldn't hire anybody. We didn't have a .com logo or a label, and we weren't growing at 47 to 50%. We were growing at a modest little 15, 16%. We were making a lot of money, but we weren't cool enough to attract some of you to come work in our company. So our acquisition strategy was driven on the basis that we would use acquisitions as a way to retool our workforce. So we acquired the first company, had 32 people, we spent $32 million for it. We acquired the next company and had 20 people, we spent $18 million for it. You get the formula? About $1 million a person was the idea that we had. And we would acquire technologies around this security theme that was all about infrastructure. And we did several of them. And we looked up, and revenues were continuing to do okay, but the market was not necessarily pleased with the mix. In other words, still too much from consumer and not enough from enterprise. And so we couldn't get the enterprise multiple that we wanted. So we decided to bite the bullet and do a big one. And so we did a $1 billion transaction, $975 million transaction. And that became not just the catalyst for changing the revenue stream of the company. More importantly, it became the catalyst for changing all of the business processes at Symantec. Because we had to move from being a retail distribution-centric software company to being an enterprise-focused services and support company. And that required enormous, enormous retooling of our infrastructure. Once we got that one done, while it took about 12 to 18 months to get it fully integrated, we then last year did 4 in a week. Actually 4 in 2 weeks. And we announced 3 in 1 day because we had figured out what it was we wanted to be, and we knew how we were going to manage the integration of all of the pieces into our company because we'd come up with a model called Alert, Protect, Respond, and Manage that was the way security really does need to be managed and dealt with for an enterprise customer. And we could then go out with that set of lens and look for targets and easily figure out who should within our company manage them because people were managing those 4 domains, if you will, of our business. And so while it's far from over, the final chapter on semantics transformation has not been written yet. We are well on the way, though, on the core strength of an antivirus business that continues to gain share in an intensely competitive market.